Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Tyra Watson, and I am coming to you from the Grief Corner. I am coming to you from 7901 South Kaminsky Avenue, that is in Chicago, 60652. We're coming today, and today, as I stated, from Southwest, and you can always reach us at our website. We do have a contact form there, so you can reach us on our website, which is www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com. It is www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com, where we have a number of resources and a contact form. You can always contact us directly that way. I do want to apologize. I am a little late today. I normally like to do this Grief Corner at 3 o'clock, but we're a funeral home, so I'm just returning in from a service, and so I am a little behind. My thoughts are kind of all over the place. I'm trying to center myself, but I needed to go ahead and jump on so that I could talk to you guys about this week's grief topic. So we opened our platform up. We opened up with the 5 stages of grief. We opened in the first week speaking about denial. Denial is the first stage of grief we spoke of, and we mentioned how in denial we would experience shock is the primary one. Why? Because losing someone and having to deal with the information, having to deal with the fact that this loved one is gone, puts us in shock, whether you knew it was coming, and definitely if you did not know it was coming. So shock. And we said that if you're experiencing shock, numbness, isolation, all those things that come with just trying to process that first component of emotion, then we did say that with denial, our grief work goal is to accept the loss. Nothing else to do in that stage except try to come to terms with your feelings. And that may require you to shut down for some time. Frankly, again, for those that are new, or rather have a new loss, right now it's still probably too soon. What I find out from talking to people is talking to families, talking to people who are losing those who are dying. What I'm finding is it's common that people are like, I just can't believe he's gone. I can't believe she's gone. So if you're in that period right now, again, whatever you have to do to come to terms with the fact that there has been a loss, then I encourage you to do that. And again, it might just be just spending time with self. Second thing that we spoke about was anger. Anger is an emotion, of course, we know that is more abrasive. It's not very soft, which is why it comes off so harsh. It can be a lot to take on the inside, but we also know that when it comes out, whether we're projecting it or whether we're dealing with people in that way, that we did speak about how anger can be a really strong force, and that if I'm angry or I feel like I'm suffering from anger in my grief period, in my mourning period, we spoke about how if we're angry, that we need to consider it, we need to express it, and we need to tell it. So you need to figure out where this anger is coming from. Is it surrounding the death, or is it particular things about it? And then determine where the anger is coming from. Considering it, expressing it, yelling, shouting, pillow, yoga, walls, whatever you got to do, but get it out. Tell it, talk to someone. And then now here we are talking about bargaining. Bargaining is our third stage of grief. Bargaining is an area of grief where we're trying to find hope, area where we're trying to negotiate. When we're talking about bargaining is bargaining in grief. I do want to say 2 things. When we're talking about the stages of grief, per this particular theorist of Kubler-Ross, it actually was initially developed for people who are dying. So when we're talking about the stages of grief, depression, anger, acceptance, resolution, just all these 5 areas, it was initially for people who were dying. But it trickles over to people who are concerned with their stages as well. And so they kind of got put together under that one component of theory on stages of grief. So when we're speaking about bargaining can happen from 2 sides. It can happen from being notified that you have been told by a doctor that you are dying. If you have received terminal news, if you have been placed on hospice, if you have, found out that there is now a time clock that has a set time for expiration, bargaining sometimes making deals with a higher power, or rather you are trying to just change the outcome or change the time. So in studying, reading, and going over this particular area, what they feel about bargaining is that there still won't be a permanent solution. So when I'm going through bargaining and I'm trying to either change the outcome or I'm trying to change the timing, it has to do with trying to cling to hope. So if I just was told that I have a terminal illness, well, now I'm bargaining with God, or I'm bargaining like if maybe I had not been drinking, or if I have cirrhosis of the liver, or, maybe hepatitis of some sort, if maybe there was promiscuity, or, AIDS or HIV, or if there's lung cancer, I should have stopped smoking 30 years ago, So bargaining is one of those attempts to cling to hope, but also to kind of rationalize. Bargaining is something that we do as a way to gain control. But even though we do the bargaining for trying to gain control on the side of being terminal, we also bargain on the side of actually having lost someone. So the other side of bargaining is actually, if I did have someone that passed away, what if I would have did this? Maybe I should have done this. I could have done things differently. So when we're talking about bargaining, we're just trying to find a way to make sense, to cling to hope, to try and postpone our feelings, really. Okay, so bargaining is a way of postponing what type of feelings? Hurt, sadness. I said last week that we know that none of this helps the sting of death. The pain is going to be there. But we're trying to find constructive ways of identifying what type of feelings we have, where they fall in at, and then how I'm supposed to handle this particular set of emotions. So when I'm trying to bargain, because I'm trying to stay away from the sadness and the hurt of death, the pain that comes with that is not going to change. So since that pain is not going to change, when I'm bargaining the what ifs, trying to make deals with God or a higher power, or just beating your own self up because you felt like maybe you could have done something different, you won't find a permanent solution in bargaining. And that's what psychologists, counselors have come to term with, is that bargaining is not so bad, but you won't find a permanent solution in it. Another thing about bargaining, in your bargaining area, you might find that you also are experiencing guilt. Because while I'm going through my what ifs, one of those what ifs, if my mom died alone, or, my sister died alone, my brother died alone, and that maybe your phone was on the charger in the other room. You're saying, well, hey, maybe I knew I should have plugged it in, here, if I would have, answered the call, or if only I would have went ahead and went by mom's house, or whatever. You're trying to figure out what you could have done better or differently to help the situation. The reason why this is going to be an issue for you is because there's no permanent solution there. Whether you bargain, that you should have plugged your phone up in the room by you so that you could have got the call, or whether you should have checked on mom every day, but, instead you went home because you were tired, you needed to cook, etc. Whatever it is that you're doing in your bargaining, the smoking, the drink, just whatever, you're not going to find a solution there. But it is rational to bargain in order to cling to the hope. Okay. So when we're talking about then there's no permanent solution, then what should I do? Well, when people don't find a permanent solution to bargaining, all of the what ifs, all of the things that we now cannot change, then we also could experience some guilt. And so while I'm experiencing guilt, or whether I'm just experiencing, just a battle in my mind because I'm trying to ignore or squeeze more normal moments out of the turmoil that's actually pounding at the door, then I have to understand that with this being the case, what's going to wind up happening is I'm going to have to let it go, because you're not going to find a solution. But do what you have to do to find comfort. But know that you shouldn't beat yourself up, because nothing that you could have done would change the outcome. So let's say that you did take the call and you were able to get over there, in enough time. That's one particular instance. But one thing that we know, one thing is for certain and two things for sure, is that death is inevitable. So if I'm not caught up, or I'm able to save this person this time, and some of you all may have that, and that's part of why you're so hurt, because you tried and you tried and you tried to save that person. And yet and still, despite all of your efforts, you wind up losing that person. So what I'm saying here is that if you're in a bargaining stage and you're going back and forth about the things that you could have done differently, please know that there have been plenty of people who have done all the things that you are bargaining on, what you should have done or could have done, and the loss is inevitable. The death is inevitable. So unfortunately, because death is inevitable, even though you may have got the call that time, even though you may have been going to visit mom, what's going to ultimately wind up having to happen is that when loss does come, at least you won't feel guilt. So with that thought, I do encourage you, if there's something on your heart for the people that you love, then you should do it. If it's on your heart to call someone, you should call them. If it's on your heart to go visit someone, you should visit them. If it's on your heart to do more community service, or to help a particular type of group, you should do that. Because one thing that we cannot do, we can't rewind time. Unfortunately, once things have happened, that's just what it is. And because we cannot go back and forth and back and forth, and for those who do, it's exhausting, and you get tired and you can't even figure out why you're tired, because you're going back and forth on something that you cannot inevitably change. And death is one of those things. So if you're in a bargaining area, please don't beat yourself up. Please don't. And please know that in all of the efforts that you could have made, if it were possible to change the situation, that inevitably death would have still come. That's the hard part. So then when we're trying to bargain and cope, to handle things and beset these emotions, the sadness is then eventually going to come. So once you find that the bargaining does not have a resolution to you, then a lot of people do go into depression. They move quickly out of the bargaining stage and go into depression. And so with that being the case, because this is the sadness that I'm trying to stay away from by just trying to rationalize how I could have did it better, how I could have did it differently. And so now eventually there's going to come a time where now I understand that, yeah, it's not going to change anything. And since it doesn't, those feelings of sadness and hurt then are going to come. And then that's why people move into depression, or that is legitimately when you can find yourself slipping out of that stage into the next stage. One thing that you have to understand and know, though, and I remind you guys of, is that grief is individual. It's highly individual. So when it's for one person and the next person, is not going to always be the same. Okay, so with that being the case, because it's highly individual, I encourage you to be patient with yourself. Okay, don't beat yourself up, and be patient with yourself. As one of our counselors, Mansoura from Atlanta, she joined us on our grief group. She actually facilitated our grief group on this last session, May 7th. She encourages that it's your time, and to have all your affairs in order, which is one of the things that will help you on the side of the beforehand. Because remember, we can't change things once they've happened. They've happened. But because as I stated, I encourage you, anything that's on your heart to do while you yet have a chance to do it, then you need to make sure that you go ahead and go full throttle with things that are on your heart to do, so that when a terminal end comes to it, then you don't have to maybe go through the bargaining, because you know that you did everything that you could. That's it's real easy. Matter of fact, we could speak of that like in relationships and stuff. Sometimes we have to let relationships go, and we let them go when we have peace, because I did everything that I can do. So that's why we have to be proactive, not reactive. Okay, proactive, not reactive. An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. So if it's something on my heart to do, I want to do it, because I'm only going to maybe have today to do it. Tomorrow may be too late. So for those who are negotiating and who are going through bargaining right now, remember this: you're not going to be able to come to a permanent solution with it. And understand that even if you had been able to do things differently, inevitably, what you cannot stop is death. So you have to release yourself. You have to release yourself from, if you're feeling guilt because of the things that you couldn't do or didn't do, you have to release yourself from that. And then you have to release yourself, not just for you, but you have to release your loved one. And when I say release your loved one, you're not releasing your love from them, but you're releasing them to enjoy eternity. Death is inevitable. Relationships, attachments are very specific, especially those that are really close to us. But then when the clock ticks and it's all done, I have to let them go. But I want to know that I've done everything that I could. So what can you do? An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. If it's something on your heart regarding the people that you love, the people that are important to you, you can't change it after the fact. If you've received news that you're terminal, you can't change what already is. So I only encourage you, while breath is in your lungs, while air is in your body, while you still have the activity of your limbs, while you can still move, you have your mental faculties, even in a hurt state, I encourage you to do whatever it is, whatever's been on your heart to do. Let me also give you this. If in fact you are negotiating the what ifs, because I know sometimes it's easy to say a thing, but it's one thing if I say it, it's another thing to do it, and things are easier said than done. So let me give you that if in fact, I just lost my train of thought. Gosh, it'll come back. If it don't come back, I owe you guys next week. I promise you I owe you next week. Like I said, my mind's kind of all over the place. But do understand that you're going to dodge a bullet. And if you dodge that bullet, it's still going to come back around. So while you're still on track, make sure to be sure to do the things that are on your heart for the people that you love. That way, if you lose them, you don't have to worry about feeling guilty about it. They said that one of the reasons why you see flowers, so many flowers at funerals, is because of guilt. Now, I know that that's not always true, because there are a lot of people that love their people and they just want it to look good. They want them to be set out right. They want it to be on point. And so it ain't got nothing to do with guilt. It just has to do with an overwhelming amount of love that they have for that loved one. They want flowers. But there are a lot of funerals where it is out of guilt. There are a lot of funerals where people stand and they talk and they express their remorse. Problem is, the person is gone. So you're talking to a crowd of people, but the deceased can't hear you. So please, 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 if you don't hear anything that I ever say, and if you don't take anything away from anything that I ever give you, and that I hope that is helpful to you, please make sure that you know that if it's something on your heart, do it while you can. Because you can't change things once it's been done. So we can't dodge the bullet. We're going to release our loved ones so that they can enjoy eternity. But we also need to release ourselves. Why? Because I've told you guys, and now I will say it until the day I have no more air in my lungs. Life is for the living. So even while you're yet bereaved during this time, just know that you guys are in my prayers. While you're bereaved in this time and you do feel like you're bargaining, you're negotiating all of the what ifs, you're trying to figure out all of the things that maybe you could have done differently, you're beating yourself up about it, don't. You couldn't change the resolution. You could not have saved them. What you can do is do everything that you can do. And after you've done everything that you can do, different from a bad relationship, but like a bad relationship, once you've done everything you can do, you have to let it go. If not, then we can find ourselves very depressed about something that we could not have changed. Love on the people that you love. And love is an action word. So for the people that you love, don't just tell them, show them. Because if you show the people that you love them, when the inevitable does come to our door, I don't have to feel guilty because I've done everything that I could. I don't have to question or go through the what ifs because I already did everything that I could. I knew I would get back to it. Okay, the thing that slipped my mind that I'm back at, because I'm about resolutions. I'm not about the problem. I'm about finding solutions because I'm about peace. I'm about inner peace. I'm about happiness. And so the thing that I want to help you with, just in case you are on the other side of it, how can you then deal with your what ifs? Okay, transfer it to somebody else. All right. So if in fact you lost that loved one and you weren't able to do maybe what you wanted to do for them, you couldn't save them. Remember, it's inevitable. So whoever it is, eventually, we have to have these moments. But mom left, or you lost your child, or you lost your spouse. So they're gone. You can't do anything further for them. But the things maybe that you wanted to do, or for the reasons that you want to do them, do it for someone else. If it's a daughter or a son, it was your child, maybe you can adopt a child. Maybe, I don't mean adopt them into your home, but if that's something you're open to, I'm all for it because there are plenty of children that need a home. But, maybe you can adopt a child through a church or a school, just a child that needs help, a child that's maybe lacking resources at home, maybe a child that's and love at home, and things like that. Maybe you can help another child. You couldn't save yours and that wasn't your fault. Please don't think that. But you can help another child. Or if, it was someone you didn't get to go and take them food. You told them that you were going to take them dinner. Because it could be something that simple. I told Miss Johnson I was going to bring her dinner. I never did make it over there. Well, Miss Johnson left a husband. So take the dinner to her husband. Transfer of emotions, sort of, kind of like that. You can't do it for them, but do it for someone else. And if there's someone that's left behind, and we all do leave survivors, then reach out to that family. You can reach out to that family and see maybe if it's someone else's family, if it's one of those types of situations, reach out to the family maybe and see how you can be a help to them, be a blessing to them. The things that you maybe wanted to do for the deceased, do it for them. And if in fact it is your loved one and it's at home and you can't do it for them, you can still, because our community, our world is made up of families and people. Our world is made up of roles and relationships. So if you can't do it, for your own, then find another family maybe that could benefit and use your help. Use your love. Turn your pain into something productive. Last week we talked about anger being constructive and destructive. Let's turn this part of your pain into something beautiful. People make memorial gardens. They make, different things to honor their loved one. This is one of the ways, if you found yourself bargaining, that you actually can also maybe bring yourself some peace. Transfer those things that you had left undone, that you weren't able to do for this loved one. Transfer it and do it for someone else. Okay? God bless you guys. It's been a pleasure yet again. Again, I apologize. Today I'm a little loopy. It's busy, and I know that's not neither here or there, but I do just want to kind of I'm all over today, okay? So bear with me. I love you guys. I love you all for allowing me to share with you all and try to help. That's all I ever want. I don't come to mean no harm. I come to try to help those who are hurting, okay? I am Tyra, and as I also mentioned to you guys, I wanted to give you all some additional information as much as possible every week. Today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was giving you 2 resources that you may need post, right? We said these are going to be resources that you may need after or in dealing with the loss of your loved one. Today, 2 things. For those who need an attorney, who are dealing with issues that require the help of legal help. And I know that, attorneys are attorneys. We love our attorneys because we need them. Our country is based on law. Country is based on law. You need attorneys. And sometimes things that surround death require us to have an attorney. And we don't know, what attorney we can trust. Because some people feel like lawyers are lawyers, and I understand, why you would feel that way. So you need an attorney, and you also need an attorney you can trust. So Southwest wants to provide to you guys an attorney. It will be on the website. I have not posted the stuff from last week. Like I said, we've been kind of busy, and so I'm all over. But I will post everything before Sunday. Okay, so if it's anything that I've spoke about that I haven't posted by this Sunday, it'll all be up, okay? But Barclay Law Group is located, I didn't write it down, but it's located 111 State Street. It's downtown. It's in South Loop, around that area. Barclay Law Group, phone number is area code 312-553-0123. Area code 312-553-0123. That is the Barclay Law Group. They have a wonderful team. They are people that you can trust. For the people, for the attorneys that are working under the Barclay Law Group, under Attorney Lester Barclay, they are just amazing. And whatever it may be that you need help with, they can assist you. Wills, estates, questions about different things, they can assist you. So call the Barclay Law Group. That's BARCLAY, Barclay Law Group. And they can be an amazing legal resource to you. Also, for those, we know this is COVID season. Those who may have tested positive and survived, we have lost a lot of people. But there have been people, thousands, hundreds almost of thousands of people who have been COVID positive, and they actually recovered. We know this. So because you have been COVID positive, or if you were COVID positive, or you know someone who was COVID positive, please tell them to go online to uscovidplasma.com. That is uscovid, USCOVID, plasma altogether.com. They would, you can go there so that you could be a help. I just spoke about how you couldn't maybe help one person because they're gone now. We can't change what has happened, but I can take what I wanted to do for them, my what ifs and everything that I was thinking about. I wish I could have done for that person different, but I can't because they're gone. But I can help someone else. I'm going to transfer this energy somewhere else. If you were COVID positive and you know that people are dying, they need to create a vaccine, they need help, and you know someone that was COVID positive, or you were COVID positive, please donate your plasma. They would like for you to do it within a month of recovering when your antibodies are the strongest. Within a month of recovering when your antibodies are stronger. But if you recovered from COVID 2 months ago, still contact them. The first month is when the antibodies are the strongest. But please, 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 please help us to help us, because all of us are affected by COVID in one way or another. Those masks are hot. I'm hot. And so please help us to help us. Okay. If you know someone that's COVID positive, that was COVID positive and did survive, please tell them to go to uscovidplasma.com so that they can donate plasma and they can help us, help the scientists, help the researchers to create a vaccine. Okay, so that we can come out of this thing. All right, I will see you guys next week. It's my intent to be here at 3 o'clock, but again, we are a funeral home. Things do come up constantly. So if ever I'm not here at 3 o'clock, just know I'm coming. Okay, I am coming if I'm not here at 3 o'clock, but I am tied up person to person. Again, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I love you guys, Chicago, and from wherever you may be watching. Next week, we will talk about depression. Depression is a big one. It's a big one. We're just not even going to touch it today, but we will talk about depression next week. Again, you can go to our website, www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com, www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com. You can find the resources under grief support that I make available, where I'm talking about. They will be uploaded. The website will be, I will upload these things to the website. Again, they'll be there no later than Sunday. The goal would be today, but no later than Sunday, you'll be able to find this information. Also, under the grief support resources on the website, you can also find additional counselors. So if you need one-on-one counselor, you can go on to our website, and we have some links there just the same. These are people, these are contacts, these are other business people, professionals that we work with, that we feel like we can trust. If I tell you, you can call someone, they'll help you with regards to this or that. It's a reliable source, someone we can trust. My word is my bond, so you have my word. I would never give you someone to tell you to go somewhere, utilize a resource that's not going to be helpful for you. So you can go on there, you can contact any of the counselors. They do take insurance, and there also are some free resources. Okay. I love you guys. Again, I gotta go, and next week we can talk about depression. And it's been a pleasure. Again, remember, life is for the living, so keep on living it no matter where you are. All right. God bless you guys. Bye.